How's it going, everybody? JT here, fresh home from EthDenver. What a ride. And check it out. All I made were these lousy t-shirts. Our Ethereum generic mod shirt. And on the back, we have our motto. It says, make Ethereum Reddit genuinely excellent, or merge, if you will. We are so glad that you could join us for this Ethfinance Daily General Discussion on our Ethereum Doots live stream, courtesy of the EV Mavericks for this day, March 7, 2025. This is episode 102. Episode 102. We had Ram Ahluwalia scheduled for today, but late yesterday he had to cancel due to the violent market reactions that were going on. He has a whole company with a bunch of constituents that rely on his services and consulting. So he was unable to join for today, but has rescheduled for April 11th. He said he sorely misses not being able to make it. It's a very rare thing that this would happen, but I mean, we've all been kind of sitting in the wake of a freaking a turbojet speedboat with the Donald Trump executive orders and all the tariffs and everything like that. So Ram had to go take care of business today, and we fully, completely understand. So again, Ram will join us on April 11th. So for this episode, we're going to be just focusing a little bit on the time at EthDenver, as well as paying attention to the Doots. We also had to reschedule this to an earlier time because my dad's birthday is coming up tomorrow. We got to make kind of a lengthy drive to go see him. So shout out to my dad, and a shout out to my mom for putting up with my dad for another year around the on the rock around the sun on this journey called life. So we will see you later on today, Dad. And yeah, if you got your parents with you, hug them, man, because, you know, life is short, and we're very lucky to be here at all. It is incredible to think about if you really, really want to get philosophical. So, all right. Well, with that, again, my name is JT. This is the Dudes Podcast, and we're damn glad that you have joined us. You can now join us on LinkedIn. I'm streaming right now, I believe, on my personal profile, Jeremiah Nickel, but we have a EV Mavericks LinkedIn profile that we will soon be streaming to once we get enough of people like you to go follow that account. The same goes for TikTok. I'm streaming on my personal TikTok right now. Go search EV Mavericks, all one word, on TikTok or LinkedIn. Hopefully you'll find those accounts. Give them a follow. They have their own little requirements, kind of like Reddit. You know, Reddit, you have to have like a 30-day-old account with, 40 karma or whatever it is. Maybe it's 10 days and 30 karma. I don't know the rules. I just enforce them. So there you go. So follow us on Twitch. Also, you can check out Twitch. Just search EV Mavericks, all one word. We are streaming on Twitch right now. And I believe if you make comments on Twitch and on YouTube, and what's the other one? We can also get comments from YouTube, Twitch, and maybe Twitter or X. They will populate in that box right down there. We also have a Dudes Podcast channel on our Discord, which is where the real party takes place, is on Discord. That's where all of our live feed comes from. But we have a Dudes Podcast channel, and comments on there will also stream out to the live stream. So I'm sold by Restream. That's what they said we could do. That's pretty awesome. Right now, I was noticing on Twitter, I believe there's a crypto summit going on right now at the White House or some building close to the Trump presidency. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of this. It's just a wild timeline that we're on. My God, it's just like every day you wake up, it's like, wait, what happened? Woo-wee. I just can't. It's just hard to believe. Well, in terms of crypto and policy making, all of us are early to the party when it comes to the idea that the highest offices in the United States are actively fussing about it. So I guess that's a good thing. Well, hello to everybody once again. Let's jump into our leaderboard for this week. If you haven't had a chance, go check out dailydoots.com, designed and produced by Hani Abu. Let's take a look at our leaderboard for this week. We have starting at number 10, Set One Less at 106, 696 ETH at 111, Crypto Al Currency at 114, Hani Abu at 115, Ethical Trade at 118, Tricky Troll at 145, Benito 2030 at 166, Harag at 175, Logri the Bard at 178, and Superfizz sitting at the top at 219. If you're watching this on X, you're like, what in the wide world of sports is going on around here? Well, we come from our Ethereum. It's this place called Reddit, and you should get on it. We have an amazing daily thread. And every single day, we have somebody by the name of Tricky Troll that goes through and he puts together the top 10 or so comments from the previous daily and sticks them on the current daily so you can go back and see what was popping off in the daily discussion on Reddit the day before. Each one of those people earns a point for making it on the list. And then from there, we have a weekly roundup of all the Doots. And that's where this show comes from. So, and that's put together by VA Word, username VA Word on Reddit. Also a right-hand man for barbecuing in Denver when we were at EthDenver together. So shout out to the A Word. So it's a work of love, and there's no airdrop so far that I know of for getting on the list, but it is good vibes. But the real magic of this is that you can see all of the people on this list that have been on the list at least one time, and look at all these people that have been on here dozens of times, even over 100 times. Over 1,160 people have made it to this list at least one time. So if you cross-reference what you read on the daily and you wonder, I wonder if I should trust this person. Well, it's a non-zero chance that if they have, several Doots, let's say more than 5 or even 10, you could be pretty certain at least they're a good contributor. It doesn't mean that it's a total echo chamber. Some of our biggest Dooters also have some of the most amazing criticisms of Ethereum and crypto and policy making and everything in general. It's not kumbaya all the time. We appreciate good, diverse discussion, but we are an Ethereum-focused community, and we hope that if you're watching this on X or if you're watching this on Twitch or TikTok or LinkedIn, you get your butts on Reddit and come check out long-form discussion. Make Ethereum Reddit genuinely excellent. It says right there on the shirt. All right. I believe in it. That's where a lot of the conversation of crypto used to be when it comes to Ethereum. I believe in it fully. I've never wavered in that. And we hope you'll join us. It's a very welcoming community. We have a good, strong moderator leadership. We are very... we like to guide and get people on track and try to talk to each other like they're in the same room with each other so the trolls don't run this industry. Got it? All right. Love you all. That's my soapbox. Denver. What the heck happened in Denver? I tell you what. EthDenver was a very vibrant place this year. I felt like some of the main criticisms, again, you hear it every year, is like some of the competing chains or some of the bigger sponsors, and that's kind of annoying. But you know what? It greases the gears. It gets people in the conversation, gets people talking. A lot of keynote presentations. I saw a really interesting one. I think my favorite thing that I saw for a keynote was Kraken on how to troll the DPRK, North Korean hackers, because a common tactic for the North Koreans is to set up potential employees to try to get them in the interview process and trying to get them inside the umbrella of a major exchange. So Kraken, for example. And it was all the different ways that the Kraken team goes through their interview process and how they ask different kinds. And part of it was like, maybe not reveal to them your tactics, right? Maybe don't give away all of your secrets. But it was really cool how they would catch these bad actors in a loophole of doubt. And they would ask them like, oh, the person from North Korea was acting like they were from Houston. So then like the team would ask them about questions about the weather today in Houston, and they always gave some kind of vague answer about, oh, it's okay, it's nice, But in actuality, like it was like 110, 115 heat index outside. It's like, it's not pleasant. If you've been in Houston, humidity and heat, that's not fun. Oh my gosh. So anyway, that was a really fun talk. We also talked to quite a few people out there. I saw Paul Brody from EY. He gave a speech at a kind of like a EY talk downtown Denver, I believe, in their corporate offices. And he was really good about zooming out, like getting people to remember, what we're trying to do is to get the world on a public, decentralized, most secure smart contract blockchain. It's Ethereum. It's not even close. And then the second part of it was, for all the criticisms that the EF gets, he says, you know what they do? They keep shipping. They keep shipping. So he feels like some of the criticisms are very short-sighted and near-term. But if you zoom out, the pudding is getting made. But he does directionally kind of understand why certain moves were needed to be made in the current environment. And so it was just really nice catching up with him and a few other friends of mine. And I smoked 16 pork butts and drove them across the beautiful state of Kansas, western Kansas. It's kind of nice. You can just kind of sleep on the road out there. The most you're going to hurt is yourself or a tumbleweed. And got to Denver, unpacked, did a little barbecue on Wednesday night, did a big barbecue on Thursday. That was epic. And then Friday I did one for Green Pill, Kevin Owaki and the friends of Green Pill. So hats off to all of you guys. A ton of people got to eat, probably downstream at least 200. One of the last people I fed was actually an Uber driver that gave me a ride back to the Green Pill house where I had to go clean up my mess. And I brought him inside. I gave him a big pan of pork and a big pot of beans and a full bottle of barbecue sauce and like 12 bags of chips he said he lives with his dad. I could tell that he didn't have, much to his name, let's just say. And so it felt good helping him out. He said, my dad and I are going to eat the hell out of it. In fact, I'm like, you want me to heat you a plate right now? Uber driver was just snarfing down the food. I'm like, yeah, go, baby. I just love it, man. Be in the moment. If you're hungry, dude, just eat, have fun. Okay, well, let's see what else we got. I'm way off script right now. Glad everybody's joining us on Discord. It's good to see everybody. I know it's a different time than usual, but here we are. We're going to be just fine. Okay, so I think, so you can find this podcast if you like what you hear so far, which ain't much. You can find us Spotify, Apple, and really anywhere you get your podcasts. You can even, after the show, mint this episode if you want to help support the show directly at pods.media/EV Mavericks, all one word. If you're hearing this right now and you're on X and you want to help us out, give us a comment, give us a like, give us a re-X, if you will, and spread the word, get some people following the EV Mavericks channel on X. All right. Well, let's see. We got the rundown on the rich list. Let's see if we got some announcements today. I'm going to go back over to the second screen here. Here we go. All right. Okay, so coming up on March 14th, Andy Lower from Scenario Protocol. March 21st, we got Bread from Mega ETH. Pretty damn excited about that one. That dude's like on nonstop. I see he's always in different spaces talking. Grant Hummer from Etherealize. There's a non-zero chance that we might be able to get Danny Ryan to join that as well. We'll see if we can pull down the the double Dutch from Etherealize. I'm excited to talk to them. And as I said, Ram Ahluwalia from Lumina Wealth will be joining us on April 11th. And instead of today, due to crazy market action, he had to take care of the home office. We totally understand. And thank you for the heads up. Tobias Schreier just added from Grow the Pie. Okay. If you want to go find these entities, go to dailydoots.com/podcast. And right there on the podcast channel on the left-hand bar, right there, you can find these links to all of these great people, personalities, and projects. All right. What else we got? Here we go. Morning roundup. I'm afraid to look at this. Frank the Tank. By the way, I never look at these. I never look at the Weekly Doots until I do the live stream. So I have no say whatsoever in who gets nominated. Every now and then I'll upvote something, be like, yo, the 8 word, this might be good for the weekly, but ultimately it's out of my hands. I never look at these ahead of time. It's always a surprise. All right. The morning roundup is kind of like a fun thing we do on Reddit. It's basically somebody says the word Ethereum, somebody gives the price, and so on and so forth. Frank the Tank chimes in. Ethereum, how are you? The number 2 day. That's a newer account. I haven't seen that one before. Gives us a price at 21.83 and Calochorus at a dismal ratio at 0.0274. And uses Pink Video chimes in and says we got 3.6 million Ethereum subscribed. That's up 2,626 from the previous week. Our weekly haiku, courtesy of JS Tears, new privacy pools, more emancipation tools. The cypherpunk rules. How does he do it? JS Tears, how do you do it? The haikus of the week. Okay, and our stats from Dr. Eth. Hi, friends. Hope you're having a great Friday and have a great week. The stats were missed yesterday. It was busy all day. That's okay, buddy. It's rare that I get to spend a day without reading this daily. Oh, anyway, hope you're all great. Here's today's and yesterday's stats. Let's go to the ETF flows. We don't have to read all of these. The total ETF flow, 2,751, that is in millions. And the ETF flow over the last 3 days is down 58.7 million. The total ETF flow on the last recorded day, down 10 million. It looks like BlackRock is the one that is selling the most. Or no, Grayscale did another batch they did a pretty big batch, looks like, on the 5th of March. And all of these stats are given to us by Dr. Eth, and a lot of those come from these sources here: Ultrasound Money, farside.co.uk, and historical tables and CoinGlass. So thanks to those people. Not a sponsor, but that would be fun if they were. Okay, ship post of the week, because we always like to save the best for first, by Ethical Trade. We're invested in Ether, not because it's easy, but because we thought it would be easy. Oh, shit. That's pretty good. Great job, Ethical Trade. That is a fantastic ship post of the week. Well done. Well done. All right. Tricky Troll has always been playing the long game. Tricky Troll writes, lots of low-effort brigaded FUD out there today, but none of it has any real teeth. Even AI could counter the low-quality FUD, foreshadowing, of course. All of the negativity is due to falling price and not failing fundamentals. Sure, the concerns about the price action is good for a reason, but this isn't the first time we as a community have been through tough times. 2018 was brutal, and it wasn't until late 2020 until ETH received anything close to a fair valuation. It was 3 years of absurdly low valuations, except this time around, the fundamentals are better than ever. That, my friends, is an opportunity, and it is one I have been fortunate enough to take advantage of before. Ethereum is excelling at the undercutting competitor strategy, which Amazon used for 20 whole years until it cornered the vast majority of the market, and it could raise prices to turn a significant profit. This is what ETH is doing with blobs. Mass scaling for L2s, which is so cheap that Alt-DA, that's data availability, and Alt-L1 stand no chance. Solana only managed to get mercenary-style chain usage in the form of the meme coin casino. Meanwhile, we have institution after institution lining up to use Ethereum. Well, he puts a hyperlink. Let's go look at it. And here we are on EtheureumAdoption.com. And it shows all the different years. You can see the trajectory is up and to the right, including dates and times that, dates that different entities have adopted. This is crazy. Just look at the list. I mean, it's insane. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Price-wise, it's not looking good. Macro is looking like a steaming pile of... But we're not here for a pump and dump. We never were. Ethereum has always been a long-term play. As the world continues to head towards a major crisis, us long-term investors know that new institutions always come out of the other side of major crises. After World War II, it was Bretton Woods and the U.S. dollar and U.S. hedge money and protection of its allies to prevent nuclear proliferation. This time around, it will be a multipolar world and a permissionless, credibly neutral, and decentralized base layer for all counterparties to transact on digitally without the need for trusted parties. What other than Ethereum fits this description? Go on, I'll wait. So as the blood continues to rain down on the streets, I'll be here, continuing to stake, financially stress-free with enough cash to weather a multi-year bear or a black swan rainy day, and the vast majority of my assets in ETH. Any spare income, I will be more than happy to buy up cheap ETH. I'm not expecting a return anytime soon, but I also wouldn't rule it out. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. ETH, the asset, is very clearly a solid long-term play. So what happens between here and 2000 whatever doesn't matter, aside from how it allows me to further increase my stack. Yeah, well said. I wrote something in one of the dailies like it's so good to be early again. But it is not so. I feel like ETH compared to other blockchains is held to such a higher standard. Like fundamentals on Solana, if the chain stops, the price goes up. You know, it's absurd. It just shows how much the meme coin casino was more powerful than the people's giving a shit about decentralization was, or just the overall technology stack in general. Okay. It's just not even close. But for whatever reason, no one goes after anybody else. I think some of the loudest people out there just drown out the facts. And you know, I mean, we got a marketing issue too. It's just what it is. Okay. Moving on. User E2353 followed a Pectra DevNet 7. Oh, I got to do something here where I change this to old Reddit. Yep. Hang on, folks. We're doing it live. I got to change this to old Reddit. Yo. Then I got to go up here to preferences. By the way, if you use old Reddit, you can actually install a really cool tool. While I'm here, I might as well show you. If you go to the front page, the sticky at the top of the daily on our Ethereum, there is a tool you can install on Google Chrome on old Reddit, which will show you everybody's Deuter number. See how these numbers here, okay, have the Doot score? Those are my personal ones, but there is a tool up here, the Reddit Doots extension by Hani Abu. If you install this, the Ethfinance Buddy is what it's called. If you install it, you will see how many times somebody's been on the Doots list. No one else does this on Reddit. I've thought about reaching out to the Reddit Red Hats and letting them know. So everybody that is on this list, on the leaderboard here, shows up right inside of old Reddit on desktop. How freaking cool is that? I love it. So good. We're making Reddit useful again over here, folks. We are, and it's working. Okay, enough of that. Go back to the podcast and get back on track. Wow, we had a lot of people on recently, didn't we? Good stuff. Okay. ETH 2353. Now I'm going to tell you their Doot score. I had to go through all that to tell you that they are a Dooter number 29. Pectra DevNet 7 just went through the Pectra network upgrade. This DevNet was quickly spun up last week by the EF DevOps team in response to the Hodleski testnet upgrade not going too smoothly. Well, the DevNet features over 500 machines running over 1 million validators and is publicly accessible for anyone to try out. Even the validator set is permissionless, and anyone can join. You can follow the progress of the upgrade on this Explorer. Let's open it up. 404. No. Oh.
How dare you?
Well, there's that. Okay. Let's see. Edit the first post upgrade epoch. Justified right away with high participation. That's good. We'll take that. The network has finalized the upgrade epoch and continues finalizing with the same participation rate as before the upgrade. Everything looks great. The next scheduled Pectra upgrade is on Wednesday on the Sepolia testnet. Gnosis Chains testnet Chiado, I'm saying it right, I hope, is scheduled to go through the upgrade this Thursday. There you have it. Thank you so much, E2353. User Harog. Harog is one of our biggest contributors. User Harog is a Dooter 175. User Harog has actually, last week they had 2 double Doots on, which means they made the top 10 twice in the same day on 2 days. I think Harog racked up 5 points just last week. Amazing account, always a banger, such a great contributor. You just don't get this kind of discussion anywhere else. The way that he puts stuff together is fantastic. Okay, so Harog summarizes the Pectra hard fork on the Sepolia testnet. The Sepolia testnet just had its Pectra upgrade. It looks all went fine. There are no missed blocks. Attestations are coming in normally and the chain finalized within 2 epochs. Wow. Sepolia is a permission proof-of-stake network, meaning only selected entities can run validators on it. The goal of the Sepolia testnet is to have a stable environment for projects testing their smart contracts and rollups on it. Looks like they can now use 6 blobs per block, and also wallets can start with testing their account abstraction integration, EIP 7702. My own Sepolia nodes did not have an issue with it. Even my RISC-V board managed to do it. The only hiccup I have seen is that the Beacon Chain Sepolia site is stuck. Maybe their node went down. And here's an addendum. As of 9:40 a.m. Universal Time, all blocks seem to be full of transactions again. There is no chain split or anything severe. In my current understanding, the issue seems to be that some EL clients naively assumed all logs emitted from the deposit contract on Sepolia are deposit logs. Unfortunately, the Sepolia contract has other logs omitted as well. So execution clients need to be more specific to not trigger the deposit logic every time the deposit contract emits something. Updated code is already in some master branches of clients. Geth, so might be properly fixed soon. Tomorrow, there is also the Chiado testnet from Gnosis Chain upgrade. They also have a custom deposit contract which uses ERC20 tokens. Let's see if they manage to fix the relevant clients until then. Thank you so much to user Harog for that update. I love these usernames. User Banana Boat Spirit explains how they feel about their ETH investment. Banana Boat Spirit is a Dooter number 7, relative youngster as far as the top list goes. Deuter7 Banana Boat Spirit writes, earlier than September 2017, sold a bunch in 2021. Comfy in spot with a few longs at 2,600. Price action during this cycle has been terribly disheartening. ETH seems to be suffering from a severe case of middle child syndrome. Ooh, I like that. That's well put, actually. I'm still bullish over the next year or so, and also bullish long term, 5+ years. Network upgrades have gone really well. The increasing amount of stablecoins on-chain is a great sign, and the current admin, despite questionable fraudulent shenanigans, is shaping up to be a majorly favorable and permissive towards builders in the industry. We'll just have to wait and see what gets launched in these upcoming years now that the SEC isn't spamming corrupt enforcement judgments at every crypto exchange or other company involved in digital assets. I'm gonna stop right there. Like the hangover of the last administration, particularly the SEC, that hangover is going to take a long time to unwind. I mean, there was such a chilling effect of what they were doing on these companies that it's like it's just going to take some time to undo. I currently feel, I mean, he's talking about the price action and sentiment. Like for me personally, this is like the worst time to sell. But I can understand fully why people would at the same time. It's hard to rectify that. I think a lot of people are worried about just general macro stuff to where like crypto's not as important as the price of eggs, for example, right? Or just all out World War III or whatever is being tossed around. I think people are being, there's a lot of actual fear in the markets. I'm not going to say that there isn't. I just feel like it's too late to sell. And I don't think it's too early to buy. This is not financial advice. I just feel like there's no way we sit here forever. And I know it's hard to say that after 4 or 5 years of just kind of, you feel like, God, everybody else got an all-time high except for us. Well, I think to go back to Tricky Troll's sentiment, we're having kind of an all-time high of fundamentals going on. And that stuff's not priced in. The current regime in the White House in the United States is not priced in long term. I just feel like we're kind of sitting at this real kind of uncertain times with just macro stuff is really driving the ship more than anything. If there were regulatory, let's say there was regulatory tailwinds that were at all promising, even over the last 2 years, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It's because there was so much demonstrably destructive actions by the SEC. We just have to dig out of a serious hole. You know, we blame bad actors for rugging retail. I feel like companies didn't get a chance to reach retail with product shipping. Does that make sense? It's just been a wackadoo freaking timeline. It's not. Listen, it's not that clear now what's going to happen because, you know, you got kind of like a wild, you know, joker in the White House. It's like executive action, executive action, executive action. The courts are going, no, sir, you can't do that. No, sir, you can't do that. So like, we don't know exactly how anything's going to land perfectly, but I just feel like it's too late to sell. I just do. I guess I'm just the eternal bull. Some of you would probably agree that I am. That's fine. Throw it in a comment on Twitter or wherever you're watching this, on Twitch, what have you. We got a little comment bar here. See, you can if you drop a comment in there, apparently this thing will make it populate. It doesn't work on TikTok necessarily, but it does work elsewhere. Okay. Good. Moving on down the list here. Let me get back over. I got to get back on to something on this other monitor. Okay, Banana Boat Spirit is the fear. I didn't even finish all of his, I don't believe. Here we go. Let me go back over here. Okay. So, yeah, I'll finish with his last sentence, or her, don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what gets launched in these upcoming years now that the SEC isn't spamming corrupt enforcement judgments at every crypto exchange or other company involved in digital assets. As to headwinds and disappointments, here we go. This read my mind. Macro environment sucks. Yeah, it freaking sucks. It just does. Rates are still high. Inflation is still high-ish, and it's not clear when and to what extent we'll get another liquidity cycle. Yeah, the COVID stimmies have dried up, haven't they? Lack of solutions for privacy options suck. Stagnation in DeFi since 2020 and 2021 sucks. That's true. NFT collapse and lack of use cases sucks. That's true. Lack of real-world, non-crypto utility sucks. Onboarding, outreach, and effective advocacy has sucked. Meme coin meta, crime season really sucked, but happy it was on Solana and not Ethereum. Yeah. Layer 2 fragmentation sucks, and Eigen sucks. Oh, wow. But ETFs are great, and so is ETH status as a commodity. I wouldn't feel comfortable keeping significant assets on any other chain. I don't trust Bitcoin long-term for a variety of reasons. Preach, buddy. Even as number 2, every year in each cycle we survive with increasing TVLs is another year added to the Lindy effect. Well written, Banana Boat Spirit. That is such a great write-up. Keep on contributing. Go team. All right, EV1501, user EV1501 discusses a much-watched video. If you haven't watched this Danny clip yet, heavily invested in Ethereum, I highly recommend you to watch it from beginning to end. EV1501 is a duder number 12. Yes, I watched this. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, you should definitely do that. It will help you cut away all the doom and gloom and medium-term price action. In light of all the leadership changes at the EF and now with Danny helping run Etherealize, I'm very optimistic for Ethereum's future. He understands the gaps to fill and making sure we are in the room with countries, governments, companies, and institutions. First off, we have to stop comparing ETH to BTC and worrying about the ratio. The real focus needs to be on the smart contract space and its competitors. Yep, there you go. This is where the fight is and where ETH needs to win. The good news is that Ethereum is the right platform for real-world assets to be tokenized there. It is modular, which will allow it to scale as needed. And no, Solana will not be the future for this. Monolithic chains are not the answer. It took a while, but Ethereum community's focus is finally on the right things. All we need to do is stay focused as well. I'm at peace now with the current price action, whether it takes us to $1,000 or not, or a million or whatever. I'm in it for the long haul, and I'm not going anywhere. There you go, EV1501, planting the flag. I love it. Man, user Hara got a double weekly. Amazing. Brings us an update to the Mega ETH testnet. An update to the Mega ETH testnet, according to Harag. They will start it this week. Then they will have a few days for projects to deploy on the testnet and get everything ready. On the 10th of March, they will open the testnet to the users. What is quite interesting is that the plan to have 15 millisecond block times and a 1.68 GGAS throughput. This is about 1,000 times faster than Ethereum mainnet, or 17,000 transactions per second. This is pretty wild, to be honest. I personally did not expect them to push the numbers that high. I would have been happy with 100 millisecond block times and about 1,000 to 2,000 TPS. As it is a testnet, I really hope that they will stress test their setup and really reach these numbers. I want to see how long they can sustain those high numbers. For those that do not know, Mega ETH is an L2 that embraces the modular roadmap and pushes the execution side of things to the maximum by splitting the network of running the chain into a handful of tasks each of which a dedicated actor does. This leads to such a high throughput. Other L2s do similar things like Eclipse, which uses the SVM. Not sure what that is. Tell me in the comments. SVM. And there's another one, I think, which eludes me at the moment. They also have forced inclusion from the layer 1. So if somehow the sequencer goes down or for some reason or tries to censor you, you can force a transaction to be included from Ethereum L1 into Mega ETH. L2s use an alternative data availability service to store the transaction data. Mega ETH uses EigenDA. This means they will not pay blob fees, but as they are a ZK-based L2, they will pay quite a bit for executing ZK proofs on mainnet. We will see how much these cost and how often they do them. For me, Mega ETH is interesting because it is on the extreme end of what the modular or roll-up-centric roadmap enables. This end is the one with less security from the layer 1, but lower prices and maximum throughput. The other end of the spectrum is occupied by based and soon native rollups like Tyco, which couple much stronger to the Ethereum mainnet and inherit more of its security. The rollups we know best like Arbitrum, Optimism, mainnet, and Base are somewhere between these two extremes. Thank you, Harog, for bringing the light to what the heck is going on at Mega ETH. And for a reminder, we will be doing an interview with Mega ETH coming up on a podcast, I think 2 weeks from now. All right, user Hani Abu breaks news of a company adopting ETH as their reserve asset of choice. According to X.com, Hani Abu has stated BioNexus Gene Lab adopts Ethereum for treasury strategy. Whoa. This decision aligns with the recent inclusion of Ethereum in the U.S. Crypto Strategic Reserve and reflects the company's belief in Ethereum's potential as a financial infrastructure asset. BioNexus Gene Lab Board of Directors endorsed the strategy after considering factors such as Ethereum's growing institutional credibility, bingo, its yield generation capabilities, bingo, through staking, dominance in financial infrastructure, bingo, with stablecoin transactions. You know what? Instead of saying bingo, I want to do that this way. Endorsed the strategy after, I'm going to go back. Endorsing the strategy after considering factors such as Ethereum's growing institutional credibility, its yield generating capabilities through staking, dominance in financial infrastructure with stablecoin transactions, and long-term scalability prospects. Investing Pro data reveals that BGLC holds more cash than debt on its balance sheet, though analysts note the company's financial health score currently stands at weak. Perfect. Okay, but anyway, that's cool. That's an adoption. People are like, the companies are speculating on it as a store of value, which is crazy to me that we have to like sell that part of it. It's like it has plenty of reasons to be a store of value or a long-term hold for a company. I love it. So good for you guys. Oh, it looks like they have an official link too. Wow, look at that. That's the official link right there. And they put it all on their website. BioNexusGeneLab.com/ETH strategy. Let's go to the About page. Was incorporated in Wyoming. That's a crypto-friendly state. And we started BioNexus Gene Lab, a Malaysian corporation subsidiary, in 2017. Worldwide Testing Center. Okay. As long as you're not doing gain of function crap, I think we'll be. I think that's a good institution. All right. Okay. Enough of that shit. Greg Foley. What a name. User Greg Foley, Deuter number 6, explains how the Bybit hack could have been avoided. Oh, it's a Grid Plus hardware wallet how could have helped prevent the 1.5 billion. Yeah, so I was talking to Justin, founder of the Grid Plus Lattice One, but this Greg Foley user beat us to it. So there's a blog that Justin put out. He was working on it behind the scenes. I was like, this is such a good play for them, because I know that the readability of the screen on the Lattice allows you to see like what you're signing, and including like the little bits and blobs that are inside of the the contract itself. So Grid Plus, also not a sponsor. I just used to work for them. I'm a big fan of the company. I love them. The Grid Plus, and US based, if that matters. Grid Plus Lattice One hardware wallet could have helped prevent the $1.5 billion Bybit hack, a security breach that exploited weaknesses in how transactions are approved in crypto wallets. The effectiveness of this exploit, like others before it, relied on users being unable to verify what they are signing on a secure device. Grid Plus pioneered clear signing for smart contract chains to address this specific vulnerability. In this attack, the web-based interface of Safe, an industry-standard multi-sig smart contract wallet, was compromised by attackers who targeted the exchange. All transactions that required that majority of those with authority to approve transactions for the account sign-in software and then approve the same request a second time using a hardware wallet. However, the tools they used did not provide clear signing and instead displayed a string of characters called a hash, which could have been spoofed in the hacked Safe user interface. Let's see. I got to see if I can get to... I see Logri the Bard is on Discord. Treebeard, can I invite him to speak? Logri, if you're available, come on up. Appreciate having you here, man. I know we're too early for you in your time zone. I appreciate you being here. Okay, I'll continue on. The Lattice's secure touchscreen would have shown the actual recipient's address. This would have allowed the Bybit team to see their account's full balance was being sent to an unknown address. Using address labels, bingo, would have made the discrepancy even easier to spot. When they say address labels, I'm telling you, literally, you can upload a text document with address labels and the ETH address and have it it'll be sent to the Lattice. So then you see what you're signing. There's a couple different ways you can do it. It's so handy. Especially if you're going to do, let's say, I made a video for Grid Plus years ago where it was like a balancer, doing a thing on balancer, like creating a pool or whatever. You can input a label, custom label for USDC by using the official USDC wallet address, or the contract address. You could make a label for that, and you could give it any label you want. You could include the balancer smart contract. You could include the pool smart contract, all these different variables. So when you do a transaction on the screen of the Lattice, you can you see real words on the screen rather than strings of numbers. And if you don't see what you expect to see, don't sign that shit. Just don't. Okay? What is blind signing and why is it dangerous? I'm going to keep going with this because it's huge. Blind signing refers to approving blockchain signing requests without seeing or understanding its details. This takes place when you click through a transaction without reading it, or when your hardware wallet does not display information that could be used to verify the accuracy of what your computer or phone displays. Blind signing bypasses the security benefit of using a hardware wallet. It's like installing a home security system and never turning it on. Blind signing allows attackers to modify transaction details without detection, without being able to compare your software wallet against a secure display of a separate device. Users have no way of verifying a recipient address or amount. And then there's a thing that goes on for how it unfolded and everything like that. You can check this out at gridplus.io/blogs. Okay. If you go to gridplus.io and they've got a blog page, I think it's down here at the bottom. Yeah, blog right here. Boom. You go to the blog page and then you can find it's right there at the top of the page, dated March 4th, 2025. So hats off to Greg Foley for putting this in. There's other people that are chiming in on here. There was a lot of back and forth. I even was surprised. I noticed that there was a comment. They thought that the Lattice one was like an institutional hardware wallet, and maybe because of the price or whatever. No, it's for everybody. what you're paying for is all that readable, delicious screen. It's a great desktop device. It doesn't fit in your pocket. The cards do. And what's great about the cards is any safeguard can work in any lattice, so just trust the person you're with. They don't have a compromised computer, I guess, if you're going to do anything on the go. All right, on down the list. Logri, just chime in anytime if you want, my friend. Logri the Bard is joining on stage here on Discord.
Sure.
Yeah.
Another thing I've talked about in the past that could have avoided this hack is what I call policy-based multisigs. So I was talking to Justin Leroux from Grid Plus about this, and I was talking to the Safe team about this, and there's another DAO called Decent, that has a role-based access control built into the DAO. And I'm trying to bring some people together to define a policy standard document for Web3 so that we can implement a policy-based access control in various places. So the way I was talking to Justin Leroux is when you plug in your safeguard, it could check for an associated policy on the blockchain for the address it just loaded. And then when you go to sign the transaction on the hardware wallet, if you enable policy-based access control, it can just flat out refuse to sign it unless the transaction that you are about to sign conforms with the policy. Right?
Right.
So if it says you can't send it to an unlabeled address, then, or you can't send it to a non-labeled address, then fine. But also you can do things that aren't flat with this. You can say like, okay, only admins are allowed to change the proxy address. Or, if you only have 3 of 8 as a signature, you can only withdraw 1,000 ETH as opposed to all the ETH. If you want to move all the ETH, maybe you should go and get the signatures of more than just a flat multi-sig, right? Because it's a very dangerous action. The core insight here is just that there are actions that require or should require more scrutiny than others. And so treating everything as like a flat 3 of 8, as opposed to admins typically do this and devs typically do that, and basically having a policy document that reflects every person's role, their typical duties, and the things that they typically do should require less scrutiny for them if they're not overly harmful, right? Things that are irregular for them should require more scrutiny or should be impossible, right? Things that are extremely dangerous, like send all the ETH, $1.5 billion, probably should require a high threshold,
right,
or just be flat out disallowed by the policy without first changing the policy document, right? So this could have been avoided inside the Grid Plus with a simple policy-based access control. It certainly could have been avoided at the safe level with the same way. It could be avoided at the DAO level for on-chain governance in the same way. And so rather than having everyone develop their own policy documents language for this, I'm just trying to bring some players together who have a similar vested interest in this technology and have them define a standard they can all share and then socialize across the industry. That's my part to trying to prevent all the hacks.
I'm wondering, I always get tired of like when hacks happen, it's like mistakes were made, mistakes were made. But it's like in this particular situation, the fact that the Bybit team was using such an inferior, I don't know, I just feel like more could have been done when they were deciding on how they were going to, finally sign things. And of course, we're not sitting in the offices, Logri, but I mean, it's so bad that they were using an inferior product that had no ability to see the data.
I can say as a software engineer of some experience, having worked at multiple companies, if you are a professional company, you usually you download all the external dependencies that your code depends on to a local repository so that something on the internet can't change the dependency and then inject it into your code base, right? Someone goes and changes dependencies from some obscure whatever library that you're importing, num.py or whatever, and then you build off of that and it downloads it at the Docker build time. You have just injected some foreign malicious code into the middle of your product without knowing, right?
Yeah.
So serious companies take every external dependency and they localize them so that you only have to verify at the time of download rather than every time you build. And this safe multisig website is an external dependency. It is a prime example. Any software engineering company should know this practice and should have been able to prevent this by using a local Gnosis Safe provides a local wallet, basically software that you should have been using instead of the website. Full stop, right? That is just standard issue software engineering. So I don't know who reviewed their security policies, but boy, they should have consulted with me.
Yeah. Well, I hope the phone rings. I'm wondering how many other exchanges out there practice like in this way, because that's just, geez. When they say don't store your coins on an exchange, I mean, this is like the most incredible amateur hour for
not your keys, not your coins, right?
Geez.
It's on the Rabbit Hole Explorer's Guide.
Yeah.
Not your keys, not your coins, guys.
Available at tokenomicsexplained.com. All right. Thank you so much for that insight. I'm going to jump back over here to, we got 2 more Doots for the day. If you're watching us on X or you're watching us on Twitter, if they call it that still, be sure to find a link. I put a link to our LinkedIn EV Mavericks profile and our TikTok EV Mavericks profile. We're going to be working to try to populate more content there. If you could give them a follow and help us pump those numbers up just enough that we can start streaming there, that would be great. We got to have some minimal viable community there before we can do that. So, all right, user ETH 2353. Is this a second time? Yeah, 2353 got a double on the weekly. We got double Harog and double ETH 2353, who is, I believe, a 29. Duder 29. Damn, another testnet specific bug on Sepolia. Hopefully this one will be easier to resolve than the one on Haleshki. If you're looking for a small distraction from politics, thank God, testnet happenings and price action, I have one for you today. It's still politics, though, quite different.
We have pizzas, we have 300 hamburgers, many French fries.
Arbitrum, the creator of the largest L2 on Ethereum by total value locked, Arbitrum 1, has recently established a Growth Management Committee, a GMC. This committee is tasked with investing the Arbitrum DAO's ETH holdings into, quote, ETH-backed strategies, unquote. There's some discontent on their governance forum after the GMC announced its preferred choices almost 2 weeks ago. The discontent stems from multiple things. I include my opinion on each of them and would be interested to hear yours. Number 1, it was proposed to cut the governance vote short, ending less than 7 days after the forum post. In the end, the snapshot vote has not been posted at all, at least not yet. I'm personally not sure about this one. This may have just been an honest mistake because the post was made later than they expected. Number 2, the GMC proposed to stake 2/3 of the amount with Lido. What? Even though proposals from Rocket Pool, Stakewise, NodeSet, and other more decentralized options were also received. On this one, I completely agree with the user that is blasting the choice of Lido on the forums. They're making a good case against it. Also, if someone like Arbitrum DAO goes with Lido here, why should we expect others to do any better? Number 3, the community expected something called the Growth Management Committee to support growth in Arbitrum in a more significant way by, for example, using Arbitrum native projects. I agree with this one too. Arbitrum native strategies may be more risky, but they deserved at least a small allocation. Thoughts? Do we have any Arbitrum DAO delegates around here that would want to share their opinion? Let's open this up on Reddit, shall we? E2353's got some replies here, looks like. On number 2, Richard Sagan III. I think spreading ETH out over other staking providers is wise. Still could use Lido as one, but shouldn't use Lido for the majority of their stake tokens. That's just my personal opinion. I'm totally fine with Lido having a large market share and used to be more against this. I think their delegated proof of stake system is not as bad for the network as I used to believe. But I still think that keeping their market share in line is important, and so the end result of that sentiment from a few years back remains the same for me. Goes on from there. Hani Abu's melting over the idea that they proposed to stake 2/3 of the amount with Lido. Tricky Troll responds, honestly, I find this crazy. Are we just in a bubble and most devs are just unaware of core protocol health? Yeah, it beats me, Tricky Troll. It beats me. And finally, for this week, I'm going to have to get a drink. This is a Logri the Bard post. Stand by.
My condolences.
My condolences, he says. Listen to you. Logri's a boss. You know what? I might even stand up for this. I might get hyped. And if I get hyped, I got to stand up. Oh, no, I'm melting. Wow. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about EthDenver, but it looks like you got part of it in your post here, so I'll just read it. I had a conversation about this at EthDenver. Let's see, Logri the Bard. Let me start at the top. Well, let me back up. Logri the Bard uses a good metaphor to explain the Bitcoin security problem. Oh, hell yeah. I'm ready for this. I had a conversation about this at EthDenver with about 6 people at a table. Logri, they were all listening, weren't they? They're all like, here he goes.
I have a habit of ranting, yeah.
Yeah, but I bet if they're newcomers to you, but I'm sure they were just like,
if I was a villain, I would have so many evil monologues. Holy shit.
That's funny, man. Oh, that's funny. Okay. I had a conversation about this at EthDenver. It's about the Bitcoin security problem with about 6 people at a table. They were all shocked by this simple economic fact. I tend to use the analogy of a gold vault instead of Bitcoin to shake people out of their usual frame of mind. We have a gold vault that is paid for by a nearby gold mine and people who enter the vault to access their holdings. Now, obviously, there is a desired ratio of gold holdings to security guards. If this gets too out of balance, some thieves are going to rob the gold vault. No gold mine is infinite, though, so over time, the gold being mined depletes. So there is less available from there to pay the security guards. As the gold mine revenue depletes, the gold vault can't afford as many security guards unless the traffic into the vault increases to offset this depletion rate. The only narrative is for gold to leave. Alternative is for the gold to leave the vault, so there's less value stored in it for the thieves. I read that sentence totally wrong. The only alternative is for gold to leave the vault, so there's less value stored in it for the thieves. There we go. It is obvious with such a system, the budget for the security guard should scale with the amount of gold stored in the vault, not with the foot traffic of people going to the vault. But even if you set that aside, coupling the security with the nearby gold mine is clearly an unsustainable solution. Having some schedule that says every 4 years I'm going to have the number of security guards, regardless of the gold stored in the vault, is degenerately risky and a poor tokenomic design. Doubling the price of gold doesn't help this situation. The only solutions in the long term are to either continuously increase the foot traffic bill as much as needed to pay enough security guards until people get pissed enough that they take their gold to a different vault with a better security model, which winds down the shitty vault to zero holdings over time. Change the billing structure to be based on holdings instead of foot traffic, which amounts to a wealth tax, or find an infinite gold mine so there is a sustainable, subsidized security budget. The gold in the vault is the market cap of BTC here. Either block space fees need to increase to offset any inflation decrease. A chain-wide wealth tax on BTC holdings needs to siphon funds for miners. They need to remove the 21 million hard cap and use inflation as an alternative wealth tax. Or the BTC market cap needs to fall in line with the security budget. Most likely, in my opinion, they will ignore this until thieves rob the vault, which will force the BTC price down significantly. By doing nothing, they force the latter option. Damn, Bogre, that's pretty succinct. That's got me thinking. I could make
tank.
I could do that. I could make we'd have to storyboard this, but I could make that into a video. I'll play the part of the security guard, but also the thief. And this building that I'm running this stream out of has a badass like basement. And there's actually a walk-in vault door down there. How funny would that be? And it's like crusty and dark and dank and like dripping water and shit.
Back at DevCon, I was at a DIS dinner and I was talking to some people, same type of table thing, and the topic came up where someone's like, BTC is the perfect tokenomic design. And I'm like, well, actually,
actually.
and like, again, group of 4 people at the table had never heard anything about this. I was at EthDenver having this conversation outside on some patio table. Group of 6 people had never heard anything about this. I feel like I was talking about this in maybe 2017, 2018. Like, this isn't news, right?
Right.
And these are people that are attending conferences. These are kind of like the 1% of most involved people in the space, right? They don't seem to know about this. It just seems like it's such an old problem, and it's pretty well understood. And despite that, no one, even pro ETH people that wanted to say like, why I'm buying ETH instead of BTC, have no idea about this, right?
Yeah.
Even people at pro ETH conferences like EthDenver, in theory, I mean, some of those talks are explicitly anti-ETH. But even people at a pro ETH conference like EthDenver, vast majority of them, I mean, like 90% of them don't know about something like this. And it's really kind of a shame because it's such an easy talking point. Your system's going to explode. It's like it's kind of like that, knowing that there is that time overflow bug in the Bitcoin code. Like, there is a point where you will either hard fork the chain or the chain will halt itself. Take your pick. But like, there is a point already in the code base. Like, you have to hard fork or the chain will halt. Full stop. It's just a good thing to know when talking to people that are like very pro BTC.
Right.
And they're like, no hard forks ever again. Well, actually, there will be a hard fork. I guarantee it. Otherwise, you just say you don't want the chain to exist. So then it's about what do we include in the hard fork? Now we have a discussion, right? And when's the hard fork need to be by? It's like 2070 or something. It's not particularly close. But to say there will never be a hard fork is like obviously factually wrong, right? Like there will be one. So it's a matter of how many does there need to be, and how long do we want to delay that hard fork to fix some certain things with the Bitcoin network, right?
Right.
And this is, to be clear, this is all about the Bitcoin network. This is not BTC the asset. If you want to lifeboat BTC the asset onto some other chain and shut down the Bitcoin network, fine, right? Great. But the idea that we're going to secure it all in a gold vault with a shitty tokenomic model and then eventually lead to someone... actually, on that post, someone linked a video where Justin Drake was describing in detail how to execute the attack on the Bitcoin network. Of like, you're going to... I described the same thing in other places, but basically you rent a bunch of GPUs because there's a lot of them in DeepIn and Amazon, all the hyperscalers.
Yeah.
You rent a lot of GPUs. It might not be the most efficient thing for hashing, but there's 10 times more of them than there is, the ASICs, right? So you rent a bunch of GPUs, you just slam the thing on a private chain, right? And you build your own longest chain. You mine something that says, I'm going to spend, 5,000 BTC or something, because you're well capitalized. So you send it to Coinbase, or you send it to, Thorchain or something, right? And you bridge it off. Then you reveal your longest chain once that's finalized. And then you get your BTC back because you send it to your other address, so they can't replay the original transaction. So you just UTXO it to yourself. And now you have the ETH on the other chain that you swap to, and the BTC on the original chain. And Thorchain is effed, right? And then you short the ever-living shit out of Bitcoin, and you make like $50 billion in the short, which is more than enough, like many orders of magnitude more than enough to execute the attack. So on that post and a reply comment is Justin Drake going through the mechanics of this, of just how much liquidity there is in TradFi and how much it costs to make a BTC block in terms of rented GPU hash power market rates. And it's less than you think.
Yeah.
Like, it is already clearly economically viable to attack Bitcoin today.
Well,
it is clearly economically viable. And the beautiful thing about this attack is the on-chain addresses don't have to be the same as the shorting address, right? Like, you can go and bankrupt one legal entity and, you know, get some patsy to go to jail, and then profit from shorting it in some other legal entity that's totally above board and make like $50 billion, right? And whatever.
Well, it makes me wonder, you know, if we're going to do this, let's say the United States does a Bitcoin or whatever crypto strategic reserve, and some, you know, if the U.S. government has a honeypot of hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins acquired through, you know, judicial action, if not outright tax money purchases. Now it's a honeypot for nation states to try to do an attack like what you just described.
Yeah, to hurt the bank account balance of it, but you can't actually, like, at no point did what I describe execute an illegal state transition. It's not as though if I control the network, I just can willy-nilly take everyone's coins and say they all belong to me. I just control what chain is the longest chain. So I can control what's included in the blocks, right? And so I can do things like double spend attacks, but I can't just like say all of Vitalik's coins are mine, right?
Gotcha.
Or I'm going to steal all of Satoshi's coins.
Gotcha.
That is a matter decided by the majority of the nodes, not the majority of the miners.
Gotcha.
So you don't have control over that. That's thankfully decentralized enough. But if you like care about there being blocks and you care about having finality, which Bitcoin doesn't have any finality mechanism, it's always just the longest chain. Anyway, so there's always the possibility of time banding, basically, and that is a very, very scary thing. Should be a scary thing if you are in the TradFi world and you look up what a time banded attack is. It should like give you heart palpitations. Like the concept of this should give you the sweats and keep you up at night, because it is really, when you talk about no takebacks, no court can undo any error. Yeah. And you read about a time banded attack, you're like, oh shit. Yeah. It is not a pretty thing.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, thank you so much for that insight. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the show for this week. Thanks to Logri the Bard for hanging out on this kind of an EthDenver recap Daily Doots special. We'll be back to our regular time next week. And don't forget, until then, stop by dailydoots.com. Our upcoming guest, Andy Lower from Scenario Protocol. March 21st, we have Brett from Mega ETH. March 28th, Grant Hummer from Etherealize. It remains to be seen. We might be able to squeeze Danny Bryan in on that. Probably going to be a pretty busy boy, though. April 11th, Ram Ahluwalia from Lumina Wealth. He had to reschedule for April 11th due to market action today. And April 18th, Tobias Schreier from Grow the Pie. Got some bangers on there. If you guys know anybody or lady know anybody that wants a little piece of this action, send them my way. We are booking now. May and June are next on the radar. And I know of at least one company that's going to do a launch with us. So that'll be kind of fun to be revealed on the exact date and the name of the company. So we're excited about that. Don't forget to do the ultimate thing, which is to stop by and hang out with us on our Ethereum. Just go to Reddit/our Ethereum. There you go. We got a weekly discussion thread. What are you building? If you're out there and you've got projects you want to share, drop a comment inside the weekly discussion thread. And of course, make sure to update the diddly each and every day and go to the Daily General Discussion. It's a fun place to have a good time with your friends in a long form context. Okay. Well, thanks for subbing, smashing the bells. Get on LinkedIn, TikTok. Go find EV Mavericks there. Please give those accounts a follow so we can continue to live stream there instead of my personal account. Otherwise, my family's going to think there's something wrong with me. I'm not shit posting on TikTok like I normally do with like cooking videos or just acting silly. All right. Stick around after the live stream here on Discord, the EV Mavericks Discord. We continue the party in the hotel lobby on Discord for a bonus hour of popcorn. It's a fun place to let loose when the parents aren't watching on YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, X, whatever. Hi, Mom. On behalf of the Ethfinance Daily General Discussion on our Ethereum and the EV Mavericks DAO, my name is JT. Cheers and big hugs from Kansas City.